Hey, it's Donna Rudowitz and Linda Downey here with you Monday night. We're so excited to be here with you guys. Hey, Linda.
Hey, Donna, Happy New Year. It's our first time together since the new year.
I know. Can you believe it?
I know.
2021.
I know. It's already, I don't know how you feel, but I already am like, it's a great year. And not like much has changed, but I just decided that I'm going to have it be a great year for myself and my life. So
Yep.
it's a
And
good one.
it's actually it's funny because that's one of the things that I wanted to bring to the table tonight is making that decision because we have two options that are available to us at all times, right? We have the option of, this is a struggle or this could be great. And the option of, well, this could be a tough year or this could be a great year. And you know what? I have decided the same thing that my identity is this is going to be a great year, even if we have challenges, because it doesn't mean we're not going to have challenges and we're not going to have obstacles, but we're just not going to allow those to come in to define our happiness. We get to define our happiness and we get to claim it and we get to put the stake in the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I know. I'm already feeling hot, guys. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like all fired up today. I couldn't wait. Couldn't wait.
That's so great.
Yes.
I just was putting that in play this weekend. So a week or so ago, I went down to my basement. I live in a 120-year-old Victorian.
Mm-hmm.
So I love old houses, except I wish I had won the lottery before I bought the house because there's major stuff. But it's a 120-year-old basement. It's not a finished basement. And I went down there for something and saw that the boiler was leaking. So
I'm using it, by the way, I'm using a ticker. Can you see it?
Oh, yes. I was like, what is that? Is somebody sending us a message?
This is like, yes, it is. The universe is sending us a message.
Okay.
Today is the first day of the rest of my life.
Did you pick that?
I did not. It was right here for me to choose from. And I decided that I was going to use it because it's so perfect for our conversation.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was like, okay, who's coming in here? So there's the water in the basement and there's an issue with the boiler. And I have a wonderful guy that helps me in the house. His name is Frank. So I call Frank and he's like, I'll send my guy over. So the guy came over and he fixed the stuff. But as I go down there, the basement's a disaster. Like literally, I don't even want to admit in public the disaster that it was. So now I'm taking on the basement. So in the past, that could have occurred to me as a whole problem, from the water there to having to have a guy come to now I'm doing the project in the basement. And I decided to just flip the whole thing. Like, thank you that I went down that day and found the water before it was like, because I could have, believe me, I could not go down in my basement for months, and so I found the water and the thing fixed before there was a lot of damage. And now that prompted me, I'm not killing myself. And my sister and her husband came over to help me. So we spent an hour and a half sort of schlepping stuff, but it was like, it was good. I just decided to look at it as, this is a great thing. Oh, it feels so cleansing. Oh, what a great thing to do in January, which normally I wouldn't be down there in the winter because it's cold. But I flipped it all, and it's really not occurring as a problem. It's really like what.
And isn't it amazing too how what was once the obstacle, which it's still something you have to address. It's still something that you need to pay attention to, but it no longer is controlling you. You are controlling it. And and this is funny because this is actually, it's not funny. It's actually very synchronicitous. So in Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, and that's my 12-week program where I help women over 40 reclaim their brilliance and attract true love that lasts. So in this program, we're doing our January is a month of what I'm calling of miracles and synchronicities. So there are a lot of people who are doing gratitude and, the gratitude sort of challenges and these types of things, which are all wonderful. But I said, I want to do something different. And I want to put out, let's look at the miracles and synchronicities for the month of January. So we've all been looking at that, right? So everybody in the program has been acutely aware of just noticing the synchronicities of life. And can I tell you, I think at this past week, 5 of the women who are in my program have had water issues somewhere in their home, right? Whether it be in the bathroom, whether it be in the kitchen. And one of the ladies had said last week, she shared in our Q&A call that, like you, the same thing. She could have, hi, Jackie. Hi, Suzanne. Suzanne is with us, and Jackie.
Hey, ladies.
She could have made it very detrimental and it was horrible and oh my gosh, this is terrible. But what she made it was that what could be good about this, and did a little bit of of research and finding out that the water and the flow of water is a sign of abundance, the sign that abundance is coming towards you. So guess what?
Come on, bring
Come
it.
on. Bring in the abundance.
Yeah.
And Suzanne was just saying that Serve Pro rocks for water and mold issues. Absolutely. Because this is the thing too. When you have the obstacle or the problem, you just deal with it. You say, okay, like this sucks. This is terrible. This may be all this and this, but I'm just going to handle it. So I love how you just handled it and you looked at what was good in it.
Thank you. And like the ladies in your group, I am also single. And I'm just going to say that sometimes, you know, maybe I'm making a stereotypical statement, but oftentimes things like water issues or basement issues, that's the guy's job, right? That's the husband's job. And so it can really occur for a woman who's maybe newly single or single, whatever, as like such a burden. Like, I never had to do this. I don't know what to do about it. I don't handle this stuff. And the joy and the what's great about this is you get to know yourself in a whole new way. Like, I can handle that. I can do that. I don't have to have somebody else do that for me. And that's a great identity shift.
I think so. And it's the identity shift of growing that muscle of, wow, I could do this. And if I don't know how to do it, I know who to call or who to find. And eventually I will find the right person to come in and help me.
Yeah, because not too many husbands are actually fixing the boiler either. They're just making
they're like, you know what? It's so true. Because if you think that's hilarious, Linda, because it's like this perceived level of safety that we have when really the husbands aren't fixing it anyway. Right. they're calling someone else or they may even go down there, try to fix it and make it worse. And then now it becomes a whole nother issue where we just got it. Like if you're a woman that has something that needs to get done, we're going to address it, we're going to fix it, and we're going to get it done right the first time. Because that's what we do. We rock as women. We get shit done right.
Yeah. So that, I think that was a great sort of way to start the year for me as like, okay, I'm going to look at challenges as opportunities.
Yeah.
To find who I am in the challenge and to do something great about it. I'm going to look at what to celebrate. And, you know, the other thing that I was thinking before we got on was also just the beginning of the year is an opportunity to say, you know, if I want to create my year and I want to create a different year, let me just see what I can shift, little things about myself and do things differently. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like myself and most people I know, we just have a standard way of doing things. You get up, you sleep on the same side of the bed every night. You get up and your routine, you know, you take your shower, or your coffee first, or your coffee set, whatever you do. The dog's out.
It's all habit and conditioning. If I looked at my past, all habit and conditioning from the time I woke up and to the time I went to bed. If I one day was like the next, was like the next, was like the next.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like go, you know what are the little things that I can do to shift it up, to make life seem more interesting, to make it be not so habitual. I mean, there's comfort in our habits, right? We know from the human needs perspective that we
Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yes.
We want certainty. We want to feel secure, and habits give us that, but also variety. And it's a new year is a good time, especially in the middle of a pandemic and people are still locked down. How do you bring that variety into your life so that life isn't occurring so boring and habitual, so to speak, right?
Yeah. You know, and there was something I wrote down today too, in thinking about just our conversation today was, and there is no blame, shame, or condemnation or judgment when I say this. I think, you know, and again, I'm not saying this as that this is everybody, or this is a blanket statement for the entire female population or people who are, you know, going through difficult relationships or difficult times. But what I will say is that, and let me say in my own life, in the past, because now I have overcome this over the last 15 years, and this is now what I teach other people to do. But in the past, before I was acclimated to this level of where I'm at right now, I would have investment in other people. Meaning I would be invested in their well-being and their growth, right? So whether that be my husband, whether it was my children, whether it was my coworkers, friends, family, I would go above and beyond and take action and to do and to go and to help vision and walk alongside other people's lives. And yet when it came to my own life and taking that action and the vision, and again, this is the past, I would have what I would consider to be passivity, right? It would be, well, maybe someone else would come in and that would be more important, or another event would come in and I'd be more passive when it would come to claiming my own dreams and my own life. And then I also had the feeling of, well, what happens if I claim it? What happens if I dream it and I put it out there in the world and it doesn't happen? Then what does that make me? Right? Does that now make me a failure? Does that now make me someone who, I put it out there, people are going to be looking at me and are they going to judge me? And it really was no one else doing any sort of criticism, any sort of judgment except myself.
Yep.
Right? It was also, and I guess, it goes into, relationships with self, building a relationship with other people. And I'm sure, Linda, in your community with the women, the relationship with health and mind, body, spirit, the relationship of their, how they're showing up, and all of those pieces, it all plays into that. And what I was thinking is 2021 is going to be the year, and I have it written here, of let's go get it. And this is what I'm calling the let's go get it year. And this could be anything that's stolen from you, denied to you, or hidden from you. And a matter of fact, we don't want the old stuff. We want new and improved, right? It's the year of great expectations. It's the year of great manifestations. That it's the year of action and bold love versus passivity. It's the year of claiming.
I love that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
That really speaks, you used powerful words there.
Mm-hmm. Suzanne was just saying, yeah, we also put ourselves last. It's really a choice we have to change. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, with the women that I work with, we didn't get, the health didn't get to be so spiraled down by paying attention to ourselves, right? You're doing and doing and going and going. And then the next thing you know, you turn around and you're fatigued and your body hurts and you've got headaches all the time. Maybe you have autoimmune issues now because the immune system is like, not doing this anymore.
Yep, so, it's bucking the system, literally.
Yep. And what I really want my people to know is exactly what you said, is you can claim something different, but you've got to claim it first. You've got to claim, this is the year, this is my year, this is where I'm going to turn this around. It doesn't just happen. Okay, the dogs are going to bark. Hold on. Hold on. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
I love Linda and the dogs. I'm so glad she has fur babies just like me. But going back to what we were talking about, looking at what was stolen from you, looking at what you were denied, looking at what was hidden from you, we look back at those things as feeling as if we had lost something or that there was something that was taken away from us. But when we really look at it, we don't even want that anymore. If you really look at it, right? You don't want the relationship with your ex-husband. You don't want to be hurt and sad like the way you were. You don't want to be in that emotional, physiological space. It's now stepping into the new and the improved. And I think, Linda, this is where my passion is coming from in tonight's conversation, is that it's time, whoever is listening to this message, it's time to step out of passivity and it's time to step into bold love, into action. You don't have to know exactly how that's going to look. You don't even know what your next step has to be, but it's claiming your space that this year is going to be the year that you are going to take the steps to create your amazing life, to create the goals and the dreams that you want. Because if you don't focus on it and you don't claim it, you're not going to receive it. I don't know about you, Linda, too, but I think back at the time when I was hurt the most, or I felt like I didn't have the tools to really know how to do this manifestation thing. And I think I was secretly hoping that someone would come in and save me, or secretly hoping that, there would be someone else would figure out what I needed and give it to me, and everything would be planned and finished, and they wouldn't have to invest in anything, and it would all be figured out for me.
Yes, that's a huge piece of my life. Like somebody else has got to do it for me. And I don't know where that comes from. If, like, for me, I was the second child in the family, was an alcoholic family. So my older sister really ran block for me a lot. She just like took it on the chin for me all the time. And so I sort of developed this, like, who's going to do that for me? And it's a way of going through life that just doesn't serve you, or me, didn't serve me. And I think it's either that oftentimes, or being, as women, like, very controlling. Like, we have to manage the household, which means we have to manage everyone, what they do, what their
Manage
choices.
everyone and everything. Yep. That's also, I was just saying today, it's kind of like we have our piece of paper, we write down, okay, here's what I'd like, God, right? Here's what I want. And you write it down, and here's when I want it, and here's how I want it. And you give him the memo, and he looks and he's like, yeah, no. How about you follow my memo? We're going to change things up a little bit. And, we're going to change things up for you. And I love you enough that I'm going to shake up your life a little bit. And you know what? You're going to follow my memo. And I think for me, when I really was, and it wasn't, and when I say that jokingly, I say that tongue in cheek, in the sense that it's not like there's a father. When I say God, you could say universe, source, fields of energy, whatever you feel comfortable with, but it's not like this is a critical energy. This is the field, and I think God, and I think source, that energy is such a loving energy. And it's that energy. When we could tap into that energy, we don't have to control things. We don't have to manage things. And a matter of fact, it becomes so freeing when we could say, matter of fact, I've tried it. I've tried it my way, and it hasn't worked the way that I would have liked it to. And now I'm going to trust and have faith that maybe if I give it to you in your way, that things will change for me. And I think when you lean into faith, and when I say faith, it's not necessarily a religious faith. It's just faith in knowing and that there's something greater than us. When you lean into that, that's where the miracles and the synchronicities and the little God winks along the way begin to happen, where a friend may be, hey, did you read this book? And all of a sudden you get the book and you're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed to read. Or, hey, did you watch this masterclass? And then before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is awesome. This is exactly what I needed. Right? Yeah. Do you feel that way? It's like when we tap in and tune in to that divine side, which I don't know if I guess I would consider that to be more of the feminine energy. Yeah. Tapping into that versus the masculine of having to do it, making the decisions, controlling, checking off the task list, making sure everything's done, making sure everyone's fed, taken care of, children, grandchildren, all of that.
Yeah, my MO for most of my life was, oh, I can work 4 jobs. Oh, there's a job on Sunday afternoon. Let me see. I don't have something going on, then I'll take that job on too. Like I always like worked my way through undergrad and graduate school, multiple jobs. Oh, I could waitress here or there, whatever I did. And it was hard. It was that masculine energy of, what do I have to do? How do I have to figure it out? What, Isn't
it also like, I think that goes to the hustling for our worth. We've been taught that in order to get good things, and again, I say this as a whole, I'm not saying this is the only message, but as a whole, we've been taught in order to be successful, and in order to get good things, and in order to achieve a high level of status in life, you have to work hard. You got to be the last one in the office, that you've got to spend 40 hours a week. Nope, you're there 80 hours a week. That you have to neglect family, that you got to neglect, your healthcare. And I think things are beginning to change, and I think things are beginning to shift. And especially during COVID, I think was a really awakening of just how much people could get done without having to be in the rat race,
Yeah.
I used to commute to Manhattan, and I used to say I felt like a hamster. I would get on the train in the morning, ching, 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 go right away, right to the Manhattan. I would take me through the tunnel. I would get out of Midtown Manhattan in the tunnel. I would go in the subway, go to my stop, walk up the stairs and into my building. I didn't see lights. I think for the 10 years I was there barely, unless I went outside for lunch. And this is what we're so accustomed to doing, because that's what we've been conditioned to do until we say, wait a minute, I don't know. And I think that's the invitation I want to give everybody tonight, is
Yeah.
an invitation not to criticize, not to come from the place of it's wrong or right, bad or good, but is my life working for me? And if it is, great, what can I keep doing in order to cultivate that? And if it's not, if I feel in my heart, and I think that's the calling that I have now for the women who I hope are hearing my message, that if there's a calling in your heart, that there's a level of life there for you to really fall fully in love with yourself,
Yeah.
to truly live up to the highest potential you can, to attract all of the best relationships, including an intimate relationship should you want one, and truly be able to live life versus living by the challenge. Then it's time to step into that. It's time to claim it, and it's time to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our culture traditionally, and like you said, I think we are in a whole period of change. I
Yes,
see, I see the
I think
pan-
we're shifting for sure,
yeah,
making shifts. Yeah.
I see it much like my water in my basement. Like it's an opportunity here for people to really shift and see how else they can live. But our culture was like, we really valued people who didn't sleep, people who were like, I get it done on 4 hours a night, or,
Yeah.
if you did rest or you did, something other than that, you either weren't going to move up in your job or people thought you weren't as motivated and ambitious. And so for me in my health journey, because I've struggled with autoimmune issues, I've taken on much more recently that aspect of trusting, first of all, asking divine light really to come into my body, as
Yeah.
well as, I'm
Yeah.
doing, I do all of the things with my clients and with myself of removing toxins, mold, pesticides, parasites, all of that. But then there's
Yeah.
also what we need to do with the light and the love of the divine that's available to us, and asking that to come in to our body.
Yeah, isn't that so freeing? Do you feel, because I do that too myself, and I feel that to be so freeing in the sense that it lifts such pressure off of myself.
Yes.
And I think Suzanne mentioned something which I think is important to kind of talk about, which is she gets torn between being a strong, independent woman, mother and wife, versus being in touch with the divine feminine side. It makes me feel vulnerable. And I think that's such a good point, Suzanne, is that when we go into more of that feminine energy, where it's more of a leaning in, it's more of the allowing, your body and your brain, because you've been conditioned to say, well, if I work hard and if I'm in control of these things, then that means I'm safe. And we've been conditioned to say that if we lean into something and it's more flow and there's uncertainty and we can't see the outcome, we don't necessarily have control over the outcome, then I may not be safe. And a woman's number one need is that of feeling safe. There's been studies that have been done that a man's number one need is to feel respected. A woman's number one need is to feel safe. Because if you ask a man, what would you rather be, loved or respected? He's going to respond, I'd rather be respected. If you ask a woman, would you rather be loved or respected? They'll probably respond both, but I prefer love. I want to be loved. I want to feel that true, intimate love. So I think the vulnerability side comes up for so many of us.
And I would just like to say, I don't think vulnerability has to be bad.
I agree. I think vulnerability actually, like you said, is the opportunity, and vulnerability is the place where we get to be us.
And we get to like crack open that heart armor. So
Yes.
you can be independent, you can be strong and be vulnerable. And that actually brings a lot more to the table.
It does. And I think Linda, this, I know we're going a little deep here, but this is really
Yeah.
important, right? Which is when I love how you said crack open the heart armor, because how many of us are walking through life with heart armor that is just so, we're not letting anybody in. We think we're letting people in, but we're not, because we may be sabotaging relationships. We may not be fully receiving it, because in our mind we think we are, but subconsciously that heart armor is strong. And stepping into vulnerability doesn't mean that you have to be out of control. Stepping into vulnerability still means that you get to choose who you become vulnerable with, meaning people have to earn the right to hear your story and to share it with you. It's not just about opening your heart to the local grocery person at Stop and Shop,
Right.
or have even having a coworker. It's people have to earn the right. They have to be trustworthy. You got to know that they're your people, right? That then when you allow yourself, and this is where the control could come back, where there's semi control here, where you're choosing the environment to share, to become vulnerable, and that's how you could begin to unlock that heart armor. And I think that's what's so important about what you do and what I do, is that in my group, Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, this is a group of amazing, successful, I mean, the women are second to none, but we are a group where you can be vulnerable because it's a safe place to do that. You could come in and say all of these goals that you want to achieve. You could come in and be as vulnerable as you need, and it's going to be a safe place in order to experience and grow that muscle. And I'm sure it's the same in your group. It gives, the women that you serve the opportunity to be safe, to expand, to grow, to learn.
Yes, I certainly hope so. I mean, that is my intent. And then from a health point of view, when you can crack open that heart armor and
Yeah.
allow for vulnerability, you can allow your nervous system to
Yeah.
calm down from the lockdown that
Yes.
it's clamped down on survival and
Mm-hmm.
fight or flight. And then that's the only way that you can really heal. I mean, we can change your diet till the cows come home, but if you're in lockdown and you're not opening and you're not being vulnerable to a degree with the right person or in the right space, but because with the vulnerability comes the connection, and
Mm.
that's where we can be peaceful inside. That's where our hearts can go, okay, yes, this is why
Yeah.
I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, is sharing not only the good things but the hard things, and now I can heal.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's the key to healing. You and I are big Dr. Joe people. We do a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, and I think I have heard story after story after story of what has really shifted for people's true healing and transformation has been that heart work.
Yes.
Tuning into the heart, tuning into that. Um, Allowing your nervous system to quiet, allowing that body to heal. And I also know that the healing is just one part of it, because the transformation and the evolution and growth of your soul can't go any further if you're locked down at the heart.
Right.
You can age because the years will come and go, right? That's never gonna, that's always gonna change. That will never change. That will always happen. You could age and the years could come and go, but if that heart is on lockdown, you're not growing and you're not receiving and you're not stepping into the full potential of your life, and you're not really getting to enjoy it with joy and with happiness. And that's where, to me, when I'm speaking to a woman who's been divorced or had a relationship breakup, and I'm on the phone with her, and she's saying, she's telling me all these things, and yet I'll ask her thinking she just was divorced a month ago, only to find out that she was divorced 20 years ago, and the pain is just as if it had happened.
Yes.
Right? And again, there's no shame, there's no blame, there's no condemnation. That's an opportunity and a gift because she's in the right place at the right time. What I find, though, that prevents most people from leaning into what they know is right. And again, if we go back to that heart chakra, we go back to that heart center. If that heart center is not open and we're not able to heal, we're going to be in fight or flight, and we're going to scan the environment, and we're going to look for every reason of why we feel unsafe and how to protect us. And expanding out and growing is not going to be one of those. So fear is going to come in, and even though inside her heart, there's a heart message that's saying, do this work, it's time. But then right away, the fight or flight would come in and say, fear. No, I'm going to scan the environment, and I'm going to look for every reason why this is not going to work for me, and I'm not going to do it. Right. And fear then leads her life versus love.
Yep. Yep.
And then fear leads your life, and guess what you get more of? You get more fear. And then you get the more and more and more you get of fear is the more and more you become, that becomes your new normal. It now instead of just being emotion, it actually becomes your identity, your personality.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to say, because I know we're actually hitting our 30-minute
yes,
mark.
We're actually at 30 minutes. I know we could talk for hours.
I know. But I posted something in my group. I have my private group, Fatigue, Thyroid, and Autoimmune Recovery, and I have like 3,000 people in there. And I posted something a while back about choosing joy for exactly what you're talking about, right? Like getting ourselves out of the fight or flight, out of fear. And a woman in the group said, oh, go find a woo-woo church. This is about my hormones aren't working, because the whole group is around health and fatigue and thyroid and autoimmune. Mm-hmm. So she said, go find a woo-woo church. This is about my hormones being out of balance. And so I responded, I hope lovingly, I tried to be loving about it, but I said, and why do you think your hormones are out of balance? Like, why does that happen? Your hormones are responding to the environment in your body, right?
Hormones are the symptom. It's not the problem. It's the symptom, right? It's the symptom of what's really going on inside.
Yes. Yep. So when the hormones are out of balance, that tells us, you don't just go right away to, oh, I need to take some progesterone because I'm estrogen dominant. So
and I'm so glad you said that, Linda, but that's what we've been conditioned as people to do. That's what the physicians will tell us. That's what health professionals will say is, oh, you're coming in because you have your thyroid numbers are in okay, here's medication. Right. Oh, you're here because you don't feel happy, you feel a little sad. Okay, well, here's medication.
Right.
And I'm not against medication, don't get me wrong. I think that there's appropriate medication for people who it's very appropriate for, and there are many people who do need it.
Right.
But that's not the root. It is the symptom. And if you don't get to the root, you're just going to create more and more and more pain.
Yep. So getting to the root of it is really, I think certainly for what I do. And I think
100%. I know where you're going. Same thing.
Yeah.
100% is the heart work.
Yes.
And I have this has taken me a little time to learn, right? To really receive, because I, as a student of the mind, as a student of psychology, as a student of physiology, of psychiatry, like really the study of the mind, body, spirit, and how that all works. I always thought that the heart was a piece of it, but I felt like there were many more pieces that were more, I don't even know if this is the right word, but more important to the health and the growth of the spirit and the soul. I would say, okay, well, it's a piece of it, but this has got to be more important, right? Like this is, because this is what the medical journey study. This is what people have been studying for years. And what I have learned, and I could unequivocally say as of today, the most important part is the heart.
Absolutely.
Because that is where everything is emanating from. That is where the seat of your soul sits. That is where your digestive system, your nervous system, everything that makes our body run is in our heart center.
Right. And the reason why it got this way is, like two separate systems, or how we look at it, is really just Descartes, who was the father of mathematics, I think 200 years ago. He's the one who really decided, oh, science, math. That's going to do, that's going to look at the physical body, and we're going to separate, and religion will handle the spirit and
yes. Yes.
We're going to separate those. So people are going to either be a specialist in this or that. But that's, modern culture, 200 years old. Thousands of years in many other cultures have recognized and operated quite differently with way more success than like what we're showing up with right now in our Western culture.
And that's why I love when I could dig in, and this will be a conversation and a Facebook Live for another time, which I think we're talking about sages and talking about other cultures, because when I dig into the history of wellness and health and that's the entire body, mind, body, spirit. When you do the research on the sages, it's opposite than what we do here.
Yes.
You know, and when you're in line with your heart, everything else seems to line up. So, I think that would be a great conversation to have.
Yeah.
One of these days. Yeah. So do you have anything coming up that you're doing for your group or your peeps that you're offering or that you're working on right now?
I just started 2 weeks ago an 8-week thyroid boot camp. And that's, I always have my big 12-week program for autoimmune issues. And that's always available. But I also did an 8-week smaller group thyroid boot camp. And we're in our 3rd week for that. And already people are like, I'm feeling better. So that's been great. I'm so thankful when people, really see the results. So so that's what we're doing right now. But I'm always doing the 12 weeks. So if people are like, I want to take it on in its entirety, it's not only the time frame, like 8 weeks versus 12 weeks, it's also the comprehensive approach to it is a bit different. It's quite a different program. So So, and then hopefully you and I can talk again in a couple weeks about.
Yeah, definitely. And I also have coming up February 1st. I'm doing a 2021 planning day, and it's how to find real love. And the 2021 planning day, and I would love for you to join me if you'd like. And anybody, the invitation is there. If you would like the invitation to,
I'm
going to put, just email Andy at donarudowitz.com. We haven't quite got the page up just yet, but Andy will, I just put it, let me just get it in here so everybody could see it. It's right there. Just email Andy, ANDIE at donarudowitz.com, and Andy will get you set up with the invitation and the Zoom link. And I think it's just $47 for the course. It's just to hold your space. And what we're doing in 2021 is the 2021 planning day and how to find real love. It's going to be take exactly what we spoke about today. Instead of being passive, we're going to take action. We're going to claim what we want to see happen in 2021. And that's in mind, body, spirit. So it's health, wealth, love. And it's going to how to find real love with self, because to me, that's the most important relationship we will ever have, is really how to cultivate that relationship with yourself. So this is something that you could come to, whether you're married or single, divorced, separated, it really doesn't matter. We're coming together. And then at the end of it, we're going to be, for those of you who want to attract a new relationships, because you could apply this to attracting friends in your life, to attracting people who help uplift you, to attracting a soulmate. We're going to learn how to bring that and attract that into your life in 2021. So it's going to be kind of really, really cool. It's going to be an annual event. It's something I have done in the past. Really just with my private clients. So this is the first time that I'm offering it to the public. So I think that this is pretty cool. And we're going to do this annually. But I think it's so important. And I chose February 1st because, number one, February is the month of love, right? It's Valentine's Day. It's the month of love. It's the love of self. It's the love of life. It's the love of spirit, body, soul. So it's such an important month to do it. And really, that's it. So if anybody's interested, just email Andy at donarudowitz.com and let her know that, hey, I listened to Donna last night or today or whenever you're listening to this replay and you want in on the 2021 planning day. And she'll send you all the details.
Thank you. Thank you for extending that. I'll be there.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. So All right, my friend, thank
Well,
you for spending a little extra time. We spent a little more time than usual, but
that's
as
okay.
usual, awesome conversation.
Yeah, so fun, Donna. Happy New Year.
Thank you. And if people want to get in touch with Linda, you go to www.organichealthjourney. Let me just put it in here.com.
Do the email instead of the website. I mean, there is the website, but I'm
What email?
organichealthjourney@gmail.com.
What was that? Organic Health Journey at Gmail. Yeah.
Gmail.com. That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me just put this in here to make sure we have it. All right. Let's see if there it is. That's how you get in touch with Linda. Organichealthjourney@gmail.com. Spirit fingers. Woo! All right. Awesome, my friend. I'll see you later. Have a great rest of the night.
Have a great night.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. I hope that this conversation helps uplift you to think about something different, to shift, to move, to take some action this year, to not sit passively on the sidelines. And it's okay if you're secretly wishing that someone else would do things for you. It's okay if you're feeling vulnerable. You don't have to make that your identity. You can use that as the opportunity to do the work for yourself.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Love ya. See you.